I've loved Asim Chaudhry ever since I came across his extraordinary comic creation Chabudz in the backwaters of BBC Three many, many years ago. What I didn't know is he just loves tech.
I've got the same one at home.
What?
I've got the exact same sound
Are you
card at
telling
home.
me you've got equipment at home?
I have, because my secret life before acting was music. I used to rap. I still rap. I made a new song actually.
Did you?
So yeah, I've got my own studio, and I do it for voiceovers as well sometimes. And for like Chabuddy, I'm always doing funny songs and stuff like that. So I've always said
we need to rewind. You've got your own studio at home.
Yeah, not a proper. It's the second bedroom
For sure.
but you know, but it's like it's my trainer room and not gym obviously, but like
I was gonna say, you look
shoes and.
So
and
okay, I need a picture of it. So how do you store the shoes for a start?
Oh, so the shoes are like all in the
wrapped?
boxes, yeah,
Oh,
wrapped
God.
in the box, and it's terrible as well because I only really wear. It's really bad because I really only wear around 4 shoes on rotation throughout the year.
So
Really.
2 pairs, or do you wear just random 4 shoes?
just take them like that. But no,
Left one right, left one right.
left and right. But it's really bad. It's like, but it is like it's a collect. It's a I'm a collector, so it's like.
Do you do? A friend of mine collects. Do you do
I
the
don't
thing with the
organise.
Polaroid?
No, I don't.
You
I
take
don't.
the Polaroid picture and put the Polaroid in the
No,
box?
I just write with a Sharpie.
Shoe.
Shoe 1, shoe 2.
Shoe.
Yeah,
And in between the shoes, just randomly, generically named,
Yeah.
you've got this sort of equipment. It's posh, this equipment.
This is good though.
What does it do?
It's just a sound card, so you kind of everything goes through this and then into the computer and stuff. It's cool, and you can plug your mics in and stuff. It's really cool.
So you say you started with music. So that
Yeah.
was when you were a kid. Was that your main driver?
I used to love music. I had like a rap crew in school, Juvenile Delinquents, JD, and we were it was like 15 of us, and I used to write all of their raps.
That's a massive
And we had
crew.
like 2 singers, and like they were like it was basically like when So Solid came out.
Yeah.
We were like, well, we need a rap, we need a crew. So it was like, it was really shit, and we used to record with like a normal mic, but with a sock over it on the top for the pop filter, so it absorbs all the the peas and the spit.
Yeah.
So it was just a soggy sock, really, at the end of it.
Well, at least it was a soggy sock used a good.
Used
it's
a
a good
good-
advantage.
It was.
So
And-
many soggy socks for young men aren't.
I was going
Just
to pee.
wasted.
I was going to pee with just one sock on. He's like, "Where's the other sock?" It's like, oh, I'm a musician. But the thing is that we were doing that from like I'd say like year 7, which is what? How old are you in year 7? Year 7, year 8. You're like 11, 12.
Yeah, I was gonna say 12.
So
I
we
mean.
would and I'd get like my friends who were good at art to do the artwork for the album cover, and we
Sorry,
weren't
you had
selling
an
them.
album cover.
We had like full albums, like 15-track albums, and I remember my mum being like, "What are you doing? Like, you've got homework." But I'm like, I look back at it and I go, "Look, mum, like if that was me, if that was my kid, I'd be like, okay, he's a little shit, and he's not great at school, but look what he's doing." Like, and I was always doing loads of little things.
So
like
you
that.
are super creative. You constantly, you're constantly inventing things.
Yeah, I love creating basically.
So I'm obsessed with the crew now. It's 15, 2 singers. What are you doing in the mix? What's your role? Are you
Well, I'm
light
kind of-
MCing?
I'm obviously emceeing, but I'm writing everyone else's raps as well. So we all giving each other's names as well. So there was SRS, Psychotic Rhyme Strangler, obviously spelt with an S.
What's his name? Simon.
Yes. Psychotic Rhyme Strangler, or Simon as his mother calls him.
Simon Rhyme Strangler.
Yeah, Simon Rhyme. And my name was Mr. Misa. Misa's Asim backwards. And then, Mr. It's quite feminine, isn't it? Misa.
Misa's nice.
Misa.
Wait, yeah, exactly. It's very compliant.
Yeah.
It's
Misa.
Misa, yes.
No, sir.
I'd like to see that alter ego, but it possibly would disturb. It would
Yeah.
intrigue and disturb in
It would.
equal measure.
But
So
yeah, it was just cool. We were just like this rap crew, and we rapped quite positive stuff. It wasn't like violent. It was kind of like we had a song about all our mums. We all wrote something about our mums. And like, it was a song about, it was for our mums basically. It was really
Celebratory.
Cool. Yeah, like, my mum, single mum, raised, all that kind of stuff. And it was cool. It was just a way of expressing ourselves. And then we did like talent show, and it was all of us, and we all had our thing. Everyone knew the crew. It was like Wu-Tang. Like, we all had our personalities and stuff. So it was cool. Yeah, I just loved that from a young age, just kind of and that's how through the music stuff, because then I went on to continue doing it. I changed the name from Misa to Paradox. Because I thought I was looking for a name, And I was like, what's like, what's something? I was like, okay, well, I'm British, but I'm not really British. I'm Pakistani, but I'm not really I'm like Muslim, but am I really Muslim? Like, I didn't know, so I'm like, oh my God.
You're caught between two worlds.
I'm a paradox.
Oh my God.
I'm a contradiction within. And then I thought, that's a really original, unique name. So I went with it. And then I kind of Google searched. There's around 15 other MCs literally in my area called Paradox. And then I thought, okay, I'll add something else to it. So I was like, Paradox 1080p. Because HD just came out. And I thought, yeah, 1080p, the highest resolution.
Highest
I'm
def.
giving you the clearest picture. And then a few years later, 4K came out. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
No, Paradox 4K is just an absolute mouthful.
What's next? 8K?
It's almost about
IMAX?
Simon Rhymestrangler. I mean, between the Paradox... Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, 5K's coming. It'll be highway 5K.
You just can't win.
You can't win.
You should never base your stuff on technology because it's always going to... You should go with something timeless like Paradox.
Like Paradox.
Like Wheel. Like Paradox the Wheel.
Yeah.
They're not going to reinvent that, are they?
Well, no, it's true. They've tried many times.
Yeah,
It's not happening.
you can't.
It's not.
You literally can't reinvent the
It's
wheel.
almost the perfect shape.
Yeah.
So, hang on. Were you DJ Paradox or just Paradox?
MC Paradox.
MC
But I didn't DJ. I was just an
MC.
MC. Yeah, just
Was there any outfitting? Was there any costuming going on?
not really. Just really kind of baggy tracksuits at the time. Kind of Echo tracksuits. Really terrible when you look back at it, but cool.
Do you
at
have
the
any of it
time.
on tape? Do you still
I
have?
have got some stuff. I've got like my old rap battle. I've got a few things, but not that much. I lost a lot of it because it was all CD based, wasn't it? And like if you kind of lose your hard drives, but it was always burnt on CDs. And see, even though I love CDs, they are like the most flimsy because like
Corruptible.
scratched and like I've got some CDs you play it, but they're just so scratched up. You can't even import the tracks, so a lot of it is lost.
How much of it, though, the MCing was about performing and how much of it was about music, or is it indivisible for you?
Yeah, I think it was about expression. I honestly think there was a thing of like there really wasn't an outlet for you to be like, okay, I'm going to express myself, especially at that time as well, because this is like, I guess this was dial-up days, like this was like the birth of the internet. So it was like it wasn't that many. There was like forums. I was part of a few forums that you could express yourself and all that stuff, but there wasn't really like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, which I think in the modern day there is a really good way of expressing yourself that way and getting
your tribe together.
Yeah, getting your tribe together and finding people that you could kind of like relate with. So I think for me it was about expression and it was just about fun. I love creating something, and that feeling. I mean, you must relate when you write a great joke or you've got your routine.
Yet to come.
And
Yet to come. that feeling's pending. In the pending tray.
But just that feeling when it's done and you kind of look back at it. But there's also an emptiness to it as well. When you do finish a project, any project, you're kind of like, okay, it's done. What's next? There is that kind of like, you don't just. I think very few creative people sit there and just kind of go over it and like enjoy it. You can't really enjoy it because now it's almost not yours anymore. You kind of given it to people, and then you're like, okay, there isn't a sadness to finishing. But even with filming, when the shoot starts coming to an end, you're kind of like, oh, this has been fun, and then it's like it's not yours anymore. Now it's everyone else's.
Yeah.
So and I hardly watch stuff back as well. I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done with it, and I'm like, I want to do news. It's cringy for one thing, but also it's kind of
dog
like
must never return to its own vomit. That's
Yeah.
that's my feeling on it.
It's so
You
true.
do it. You do not want to go back to it. We were
Yeah.
just laughing before.
some dogs do eat their own sick. Though,
They do, but
which I
this-
think are
this dog will
narcissistic
not.
humans. just puking out the work, and then it's still good.
Oh, that's
Oh, yeah.
It was as good as I remember.
Yeah.
Gonna get some more of that secondhand shit. Mm.
God, I'm great. I'm sick.
I
literally.
don't. I mean, we were talking before as you were coming in about we just worked on something and I'd done the ADR and I didn't recognise myself. I don't want to see myself. I don't want to hear myself.
It goes back to the classic old. Do I sound like that? Do you remember when you first time you
Yeah.
heard your voice? Because it was probably before a video. You'd always hear yourself first,
Yeah.
like on maybe a dictaphone or something.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh my, am I that nasally? Am I that whiny? God, I sound camp. Like you don't even realise sometimes. I remember my girlfriend once. She said to me, and this is I've been with her for around 3.5 years now. But I never noticed. And in the morning, I never noticed this about myself. And I was like kind of getting up, and I was really tired, and I was going to the kitchen. And she was like, "You're quite limpy, aren't you?" And she was like, "You're quite camp in the morning." And I was like,
Only in the morning.
"Yeah." And I'm like, "You're right." I go, "I am quite." I kind of get up, and my wrists are kind of limp, and I kind of walk, and I'm doing the coffee, and it's here we go, baby.
So there's a flamboyance to you.
There's a flamboyant, but I think it's tiredness because my muscles aren't like they haven't been activated yet. But also, it is quite. I didn't realise that. And then, you know,
I like
and then she
it.
filmed me once. She filmed me kind of coming with coffee, and I was like, here we go, baby. And I was like, fuck, I am camp. I didn't realise, you know.
It's good. Everyone should be multiple selves during the day. It's great that you start as sort of John Inman and then you go into various other iterations during the day.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So
end up as Arnie by the end of the night. Here's your coffee.
But you never know, she might want you to start as Arnie and then maybe just as you're getting into bed, she might want
soften up.
Yeah.
More flexible. The wrist.
Exactly. The thing is, you're capable of both sides. You can be I've seen it, you can be super hardcore and you can embrace your femininity. So don't always do in the morning.
You know what, funnily enough, like I've always taken that as a compliment because I was raised by women. So I was raised by my mum, my gran, my older sister, and I've always not preferred the company of women, but I've always been very comfortable around the company of women. I just find them like with Debbie, that we have the same agent. So Debbie, even with Debbie's, her when she had her own company, it was all women. And I used to love that. I used to walk into the office and be like, hey, and it was just all like my mums and my sisters and like my mates. And I like that. I think there's we were talking about this actually with my girlfriend. She was like saying, I prefer working for women. And I was like, yeah, I get that, because all the bosses I've had in my kind of normal jobs, all the kind of really nasty ones have been men. And I'm not saying that, but I've had some really lovely female bosses who I've kind of really enjoyed working for, and they've been nurturing and nice and not mothering or maternal, but there is a kind of, I don't know, the energy's different. With a man, there is this kind of well, I'm the boss. There is this kind of alpha kind of competitiveness with another man.
It's more structured. The work is more structured.
So. Yeah, and I think obviously I'm completely generalizing here, but just in my experience, when you work for a woman, it's kind of there's a nurturing aspect. There's not when it's a man, it's kind of a little bit more well, I'm the boss. There's that, like you said, there's that structure, there's that hierarchy.
Do you think that might also be to do with the fact that those jobs you hated as well, that your previous iterations weren't your favourite jobs? Now you're doing something you really love.
Yeah, I guess there is an element. I mean, my first job I ever had was at Curry's, not an Indian takeaway. I know what you're thinking. The electronic cool shop, and I was 16, and I remember my boss was an absolute arsehole. He used to steal my sales. So I was with a customer. This is a 16-year-old kid, and I'm good at sales. I've got the gift of the gab. I could get you to buy shit. Right,
what shit do you want me to buy?
I could whatever the fuck you want. I'll sell it to you.
What is it?
What I mean?
What is it? What are you selling?
I mean, anything.
Yeah.
Anything. There was that.
I'll buy it.
But there was that. When you do the sales thing, you have to literally pick up anything and go, look at this glass. Look at the structure on that. And if you hold it up, anything. That was a thing. So I was there, and I spent this guy came in, and he was I could tell that he had money because he was quite quick with his sales. He was like, I'll have that. He goes, I've just moved into a new place. He goes, I'll have that. And he was like, I'm just getting takeaways all the time. And I was like, I go, have you got a fridge? He goes, I haven't even got a fridge, mate. And I was like, you know what? I go, if you want, we could just kind of hook you up now, get you all good to go, get everything delivered.
You are
so
good.
I was TV, washing machine, fridge, big sale.
Yeah.
And this was when Currys don't do commission anymore. But this was when you could get commission, and it was actually, you could make good money. You could make £300-400 a week of commission only, right? Added to your salary. So I kind of sold him all this stuff, and then at the end of the thing, kind of the boss came in and went, okay, I'll take it from here. I said, put it on his shit, and stole my commission. And I was like, no, and then I remember I quit. I was like, I just had enough. And then it was I was on a Saturday. I called up and I went, I'm not going to say his name, but I was like, I'm not coming in today. I quit. And he's like, oh, well, that's it. Then it's just fuck you, is it? Fuck you, is it? I was like, well, yeah, it's fuck you. And he was the worst boss ever. He would do that thing where 30 seconds you're late, he'll mark you down as late. And then, 3 lates in a week, then you get penalised and all this. He was a bit of a Nazi, actually.
But I sort of figure, knowing you a bit as I do, that you would make the best of a job you hated. Because you just naturally are positive, it seems to me. And you want to just get on with people.
Yeah, I guess there's an element to that. Yeah, I mean, but I think I was really young as well, so I was kind of wide-eyed and and then that kind of crushed me a bit when it was actually, this is quite brutal. The sales retail world is fucking cutthroat. It's hard. It's a hard job. I worked at O2 at one point, and there was just the arseholes there. I used to work in O2 in the Kingston Bental Centre, and you just get people coming in and throw their iPad, phone, and go, "It's not working, fix it." And it was just it was a lot of arse. That was a horrible job.
How many of those sorts of jobs did you do over the?
I've done a lot of call centre jobs. A lot of the people just nothing boys used to do. We used to work in the same call centre, selling salmon and trout weekly. magazines, and Top Gear magazines.
Sorry, Salmon and Trout Weekly.
Salmon and Trout Weekly, yeah.
What news is there of Salmon and Trout that would fill a weekly magazine?
It was quite a mean job. It was one of those jobs where you call people up, and it's a lot of old people, because that's the kind of the numbers they have.
They love Salmon and Trout,
and they love all that shit. And it was like you call them up and you do the whole 3 months free, take their card details, and then you know what it's like. They forget to cancel. So it was a really soulless job. But what we used to do is because we were so bored, and going back to what you said, we were trying to make a positive thing out. We used to start doing accents. So we'd call up and just loads of characters and all kinds of stuff. I'd be called up and be like, yo, what up? It's Ghostface Killer from the Wu-Tang Clan. And I'm selling, Salmon and Trout Weekly now. If you like your salmon. And because no one really listens to the intro, you can literally say, hi, this is Cock in Your Mouth. And I'm, they don't listen to what you're saying. So we were doing this, and the one challenge was trying to rap the whole kind of sale. So be like, hey, how you doing today? I've just called up to say, hey, and just make the whole thing rhyme. And then we eventually got fired because they called us into the office and they're like, we do record the calls. And they kind of played them all back to us. And we were like, yeah, we didn't think you actually record them. I thought that was just a thing, for training purposes. What fucking training?
Well, I suppose to train people to speak in their normal voice.
But so that didn't last too long.
There will be people who believe they've been phoned by members of the Wu-Tang Clan to buy a weekly publication on Trout.
Lovely chap, Ghostface Killer.
Came to me from the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, from the Wu-Tang Clan. The Wu-Tang boys, they're lovely.
As a result, I know exactly which trout fisheries are on song.
And apparently, the Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. So I've heard.
So what characters would the boys do if you were Wu-Tang?
So many. We were just it was just characters. It was just I can't even. They used to do these old kind of gangster geezers like, hello love, like that. Right. So if you want this magazine now, all you got to do, give me your card details. Don't be alarmed, love. Just so many. And then I used to do a kind of rendition of Chabuddy, which wasn't Chabuddy, but it was kind of like, hello, Lady Mart, how you doing? A really friendly Asian guy, Oh, I'm just called. And it was always that thing of because I used to find it hilarious when Asian people would call you from call centers and they go, hello, Mart. And they're doing a weird Cockney accent. They're like, and then I'll be like, where are you calling from? I'm calling from sunny London today, Mart. It's like pissing outside. You're like, they're in Mumbai somewhere. And I just always find that hilarious. So yeah, loads of characters.
Well, listeners, the state of the world is pretty abysmal right now, but I think I found the bit of light relief we all need. The Secret Diary of Boris Johnson, aged 13 and a quarter, is out now in all good bookshops. The book tells the story of how Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson, a lazy, bumptious, entitled and overweening child, comes to decide that he should be Prime Minister. Along the way, we see him hone the techniques and persona that will one day allow him to hoodwink a nation. Author and comedy writer Lucien Young wields his satirical pen like a sword to expose and ridicule Boris's stupidity, abuses and vices. As this extract shows, Boris was always destined for greatness. He just wasn't sure in which profession. In the showers this morning, it occurred to me that while I'm confident my fate is to be a great man, I'm not at all sure in what direction this greatness lies. Literature? The army? Something dreary like politics. Well, I suppose that's why one does go to Eton, to find out what you'll be in charge of. Ultimately, what I do with my life doesn't really matter, so long as I end up at the top of the pile. The audiobook is read brilliantly by impressionist John Culshaw. I'll leave you with a gem of wisdom from 13-year-old Boris. 10 rules to live by. Number 6. A friend is just an enemy you haven't made yet. The Secret Diary of Boris Johnson, aged 13 and a quarter, is out now in hardback, ebook and audiobook. So the guys from People Just Do Nothing, you've known, do you know them at school? Was
college.
Okay.
So yeah, it was it was college, and I was a rap battler at college, so I was known as the rap battler. Well, not known, but I used to rap battle in college. And
were you still Paradox then? Paradox.
I was still Paradox. No, I was just Paradoxing. I kind of wasn't the 1080p hadn't come yet. But and my friend Hugo, who's Beats in the show, and he's a really talented producer and musician, and he's gone on to win Ivor Novello Awards. People don't know that he's Keith Chegwin's nephew. Which is another weird fact.
Both of these facts have blown my mind.
He's really he keeps it all very quiet, but he produced Emily Sandé's Next to Me. You know that song?
Yes.
He produced that, and it was like, what? So he got into music kind of before the comedy, and he's always been amazing. But he's
that's
very
why it
low
works,
key about
though,
it.
because the music works. The music has to work in order for the comedy to...
He's a big part of that, actually. He kind of knows that genre of music so well. And I think there's a, going back to the kind of Spinal Tap thing, it's an art to do something bad good.
Yeah.
Or bad well, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
you have to know the technical aspects to kind of satirize it. So it's like, and we knew that. So it was like, if you didn't know that, then you can kind of tell straight away that this guy doesn't even know what he's trying to satirize.
Well, then it's just mocking people who want
Yes.
to try and succeed in the music business.
Exactly, yeah.
Who often are working class kids in the States who dream big and...
Exactly. And it's a very... you kind of have to look past all of that. Like, our comedy didn't come from like, oh, look at these, look at this Asian guy talking funny, or look at these chavs trying to, do things. It was like about the characters. Like, let's find the delusion in the characters. So these characters could actually do any kind of music. They could be from anywhere. Chabuddy G could be any kind of ethnicity. He could be, it doesn't matter. Like, what makes, when you break a character down, like, what just makes this character funny? If it's just, oh, he talks in a funny accent, you're gone. You're a 15-second meme.
That's an impression.
Yeah, you're a meme. It's an impression. Exactly. It's not a character. It's not something that people can relate to. It's not like, the great characters I find when you go, oh God, this reminds me of blah blah. Like, I know someone just like that.
Yeah.
And I always think those characters are the ones that stay with us.
And for Chabuddy, what you're doing is and God, I love Chabudz, but it's you developed a character that all the paradoxes you describe yourself being will understand. So British, British born,
Totally.
white,
Yeah.
kind of middle class people will get Chabudz.
Yeah.
But first, second generation Asians will get Chabudz.
That's all their uncles and their and they're all their mates. But also it's kind of just like in any town, that guy who's like, his ability is here, but his kind of delusion and
His
what
reach,
he thinks he can do, his reach is up here. And there's just loads of comedy in between. The guy who can just, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. I can get you this. I can get you that. It's insecurity kind of maxed up to, it's kind of blind confidence, but supreme blind confidence. And that's always funny. When someone says something really stupid, but with complete conviction, like, that's funny,
He's so convinced that everything's going to slot into place in every moment,
is,
and
he
it's
is.
just there's a calmness to him while everything is going wrong because his sense of self-belief is so concrete.
Yeah. It's the eternal optimist, and like Del Boy is one of the biggest inspirations. It's Del Boy always thought that everything's going to be, this time next year everybody will be millionaires. It's that kind of eternal optimism. But if you really study the character, you can see that there are cracks and there's insecurities and vulnerability there. That makes them likable. That when he's saying, oh mate, I can get any chicks, you trust me when I walk down the road, you're looking in his eyes and you're thinking, you haven't had sex for over a decade. You're not getting anything, mate. And you know that, but he's gonna tell you, oh mate, I'm ladies man. You know what I mean? Like and that's why I think sometimes you can verge on creepiness and kind of being a bit sexist with that stuff, which a lot of those guys are. Like, the real guys are that. But, with a comedy character with the BBC, you can't just outwardly be disgusting and gross. So you need to have that vulnerability. You need to have that kind of delusion.
It's just posturing, isn't it?
It's posturing. It's not like, no one's ever been like, oh God, he's creepy. Oh God, he's a threat. He's not. But
he's not. He's sort of physically impotent.
Yes,
but mentally grandiose, isn't he?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
And that's why he's so funny. And he has that.
The lad humor, I think, sometimes can be quite toxic. That kind of like ooh, that kind of stuff. Like, even though I know it's popular and people like it and all that kind of stuff, but really it is quite aggressive, and it's not that funny when you're being really vulgar about women in that way. Where's the comedy in that? You're just basically saying, oh God, you're shagbird, it's just like lad. It's just toxic lad.
Kind 1D sort of lad.
Yeah, it is kind of. What else have you got? It's kind of.
And no one's that one-dimensional one. There are troubled men around for sure, but they
True.
all have reasons.
Yes.
And you have to we all have to examine our reasons for doing bad things and being less than we should.
Yes.
And that's sort of where comedy's great, because Chabudz is flawed and vulnerable but bombastic, and he also, he's Del Boy in one sense because they're working class kids, but he's also that I remember it from my grandmother, who's an immigrant, is that drive. You've got to you've got to do it, because it's life or death, isn't it? you've got to succeed, and
He's
the
a
best
hustler
way
in a good way. Yeah, he needs to hustle.
And then the only way often that you can see to do that is through money, is
Yeah.
through financial success, because
Yeah.
that's the one that everyone will understand
Exactly.
around you.
Yeah.
Hence peanut dust and sell,
Yeah.
sell,
Yeah.
sell,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
How much of it? I mean, so you've said Hugo was in your sort of environs at college. So all the guys, you met all the guys.
Yeah,
there.
so Hugo's the kind of link, because Hugo went to school with Steve.
Yeah.
And then we kind of know Grinder, Seeper, all through music and that scene, because we all used to rap together and all that. So we all kind of like, I was doing media, they were doing music. So it was kind of a perfect marriage where I was learning the technical aspect of, filming and editing, and, and Steve was doing English, so he always wanted to be a writer. So it was kind of like, a meeting of minds. And then when I graduated, when I finished university, I kind of had my own camera equipment, and I was doing little, music videos and short sketches and all kinds of stuff. So then we were like, well, Asim's got the camera equipment, and it was good stuff. It was like the Canon 5D when it first came out.
Man.
So it looked pretty good. It looked, pretty legit, and I had a nice little mic and everything. So we were like, look, why don't we watched this documentary called Tower Block Dreams, and it was a pirate radio, real life documentary on BBC, and we were just obsessed with it, but kind of use that as inspiration, but also our own, because, Seeper and all these boys, they used to be on pirate radio, and I used to rap, and Steve was around all these people. So we just thought that this is a perfect marriage of like stuff, and those guys are the funniest guys I've ever met. So I was just being like, well, I'm never gonna meet people as funny as these guys, and till this day we still, doesn't matter who's around, we're just trying to make each other laugh on set. So it's not about like delivering the best line or delivering all this. I'm just trying to make you crack up, and if you corpse, then I know that this shit's funny. So it's like, and we've kept that throughout the whole thing. We were in the writing room yesterday, and all we were doing was just trying to crack each other up. And out of that, we got loads of new jokes in for the film, for the the People Just Nothing film we're writing. So it was a really good kind of meeting. People bringing their own skills and kind of just all kind of like, it all kind of fit in the right place. And
where does Chabudz, because you joined them as a rapper, where does Chabudz come out of the mist from?
Well, I kind of started off on the technical side. So we did 2 webisodes, and I was filming, editing, and playing the director role who was speaking. But I always had this character that I used to actually use as a prank character with Hugo. We used to call up like for skits for our album. This character was kind of there for, and we used to call up like QVC. We used to call up brothels. I've got this hilarious skit that I did, and I kind of called up, and this was Chabuddy in his infancy, where he was very seedy, but it was kind of funny. It was like he was really eloquent with it. He was like, "Hello there, darling, and tell me what lovely ladies do you have today?" And then she just really doesn't give a shit. She's like, "Yeah, we have Maria, she Pole, she 30," and I'm just going, "Yeah, she clean?" And then she's going, "Huh?" I go, "She'll take a nice shower, yeah?" And it's just ridiculous. And the whole thing was, my album was called Spleen Tapes. So what we were doing is we were getting this character to call up everywhere and try and get spleen tapes in there. So I was saying, "And does she do the sexual position spleen tapes?" And this poor Polish guy on the phone is going, "Spleen tape?" And I'm going, "Yes, spleen tapes. She do that?" "Yeah, she do the spleen." She just fucking said it. And we'll call up QVC and go, "I'm looking for the spleen tapes." And just the skit was throughout the album. So then, the boys were like, "Well, I think, you should do something as well, Asim. Like, this character's so funny." So they kind of pushed me into doing it. I didn't really want to do it. I was very kind of content being the editing and the filming and the tech guy, because I enjoy that.
And what the director character was behind camera, was he? Didn't appear?
No, he didn't appear.
And was he a version of Chabudz, or was he just
he was like, his character was uni boy, because we always thought it's funny if it's someone completely different from the. And so, what do you guys? This garage. What is So I was doing that kind of. If you watch the old YouTube stuff, that voice is me, and I'm like, "And how would you describe your lyrical style?" And then Brian just like, "Fuck you mean, mate?" It's like this one in one of the episodes we actually we get our mates to play these uni guys, and they're like proper hipsters and kind of lying on the grass and then like there's we cut to Grinder and Beats, and they're like, "I don't really know about them brears and filming brears, like they're weird, like I've never seen a man wear jeans that tight before, like not in London." It was just ridiculous. So yeah, that was kind of like what, and then they would just kind of convince me to do the Chabuddy stuff, and I was really embarrassed first, because obviously I thought, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it properly. But it is quite embarrassing if you're kind of like, you've never been on camera before,
and
you're going and playing this kind of version of your dad. you know, which is kind of Chabuddy's kind of based on. And I had the moustache and I had the ridiculous leather jacket and I was doing kung fu on a roof. But it was, you know, as soon as we did it, you know, when you just do something, you go, yeah.
It feels right.
It feels right. So that was it, basically.
How much of Chabudz is your dad? I mean, I know you've referenced before publicly that it's a sort of a take on him.
Yeah, I would say it's a take on him. I think he's a different generation from Chabuddy. Like, my dad is definitely first generation. I'm not saying that Chabuddy isn't first generation, but Chabuddy's like, he's like a mixture of like my dad, a lot of my mates I grew up, some of my uncles, and just like Del Boy, Partridge, like all these guys, these delusional guys. It's just all kind of mixed into this guy. But really, he's kind of like a real mixture of like, you know, an Asian kind of wheeler dealer. He's a bit of a geezer. He thinks he can speak a bit of patois. He's very London London's not the right word.
Yeah,
he's a mixture of cultures, but at the same time, he is just a wheeler.
He does feel
dealer.
very London.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
but in that weird way that comedy has, the more specific you are, the more general you are. So even though that show is so kind of inner city, everyone loves it.
Yeah,
you could watch it in Wiltshire.
Yeah,
and
of course, and that's the thing as well. It's kind of if you have to be careful sometimes with those kind of like, you know, because like you said, he is a very specific. He's from a very specific place. Yeah. And they speak like that in Hounslow. Like, you know, I'm sure if you went to East London, they'll speak differently. I mean, it's true, they would.
Yeah.
So it is very specific, and it's all about the details. And the more you have on a character, you know where he lives, you know where he went to school, you know, all that. He kind of builds a more realistic character.
And then everyone gets a piece of him. I think if you try and please everyone, if you're just trying to do a London character as opposed to a Hounslow boy, then the people see the cracks. You know, in the same
100%.
way, you've referenced Alan Partridge. That character is so specific. It's been honed. And also, he's grown, as Chabudz will do. I mean, I don't know, have you seen Chabudz change a bit? Have you worked on him over the years?
He's definitely developed. I think it's... he's 100% developed, and I think it's a slow development, but... he gets more and more, in a way, gets more and more kind of confident, but more and more desperate as the years go by, which I think they work, you know, together. You know, the desperation ups and then the confidence ups because, God, I'm fucking losing it here. Okay, confidence needs to go up, desperation goes up, confidence goes up. He's just always going to become, and then he will have, you know, a breakdown. Like, eventually, he can't. I mean, he kind of has in the show when he's living in his van and he's homeless. He has those moments, but then he kind of pops back up. You know, he in a way, he's invincible. You know, he's kind of, you can't keep Chabudz down. He was, you know, a couple of years ago in the series, he was sleeping in his van, shitting in a bucket, but he was still out there, like, you know, he was like, it's me, baby. Yeah. You know, like, you know, it's, so yeah, in a way, I do want the development, but I don't want to rush it as well. Like with the Partridge, you know, with Coogan's character as well, he's just, you know, dealt with it so... I think in a really smart way where he hasn't rushed it. He hasn't just been like... Because Partridge is always going to be relevant. No one's going to forget about Partridge.
No.
And he's kind of part of British comedy legacy.
But so, Chabudz is very firmly in the public imagination. And, you know, Chabudz you could return to. I know you're doing the film, but Chabudz could have kids or a kid come out of nowhere. You know, he didn't realise he had or whatever it is, you know. And there's just so many...
I'm a dandy.
I know.
Shit.
Yeah.
Grass & Co. is a premium range of products that blend the highest quality 100% natural CBD with therapeutic botanical ingredients. The organic CBD and botanical formulations have been specially created to bring balance to your body and mind with the most delicious, smooth flavours. The new Grass & Co. Calm CBD range includes balancing botanicals evening primrose, ashwagandha, chamomile, marula and mint to help relax your body and calm your mind. Now, many people who've already tried CBD oils think that the challenging taste is just something you have to put up with to enjoy the benefits. But the guys at Grass & Co. disagree. They've blended their CBD with organic botanical ingredients including ginger, turmeric, orange and mint for the most delicious smooth flavours. If you're new to CBD, the best-selling 500mg Calm CBD oil is a great starting point. As with all supplements, CBD will affect everyone differently. So start low and steadily build your dosage every day so you find the balance that works with your body. The Grass & Co. Calm range brings peace and tranquility to your day with CBD consumable oils, nourishing body oils and peaceful pillow sprays. Comforting aromatherapy scents have been specially blended to quieten your mind and soothe your body. The Grass & Co. Complete range delivers exactly what you need when you need it, whether that be taking the CBD oil first thing in the morning to prepare for a busy day at work, or at the end of the day, the aromatherapy scents can help reduce sleep anxiety and establish the habit of falling asleep. Simply spritz the calm pillow spray generously onto your pillow and bed linen. Inhale the pure aromatherapy scent slowly and deeply to welcome a deep, restful sleep. And now, listeners to this podcast can get 20% off the full range. Just head over to www.grassandco.com/hour. Grass & Co. are the CBD wellness experts and are committed to delivering the best product range to their customers. Quality and integrity drive their approach to everything they make and do. They openly share the certificates of analysis with customers on website product pages. With no trace of THC, Grass & Co. CBD oils are totally legal to buy and consume within the UK and most EU countries. I've tried them and they're great, so get 20% off the full Grass & Co. range by going to www.grassandco.com/hour and entering hour at checkout. Grass & Co. Life enhanced by nature.
100% Chabudz could go on, and I think but for me it's just about, and for all of us, because it's always going to be we're involved, and yeah, we're never going to be like, oh, this guy's going to do his own thing, because to be honest, the quality control we have is that we were in this writing room yesterday, right, and it was ridiculous. Like, it's always like this, but we will debate a joke for an hour. We were debating a joke for 1 hour yesterday, and the new producer who's on the film, she was just like, I can't, like, she was like, this is amazing, but we need to fucking, like, move on.
Yeah.
You know, and it's ridiculous, because it's like me, it's, you know, the boys, we've got John Petrie, the producer, you know, Ash is sitting down there. It's just, and Jack, the director, and we're so passionate about this one joke. And, like, the joke is funny, but we were, like, kind of analysing it, like, does it work tonally, blah, 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 different versions. And I was just thinking, like, fuck, man, this is the quality control that I always want. I don't ever want to be in a room and people just like, yeah, it's funny, go on next. I want to analyse every joke, and I want to make sure it's as funniest as it can be. And best joke or version wins in the room. You know, so it's like, when you have that, man, when you have that quality control, why would you want to go off and just do something on your own? And, you know, that ego and that kind of...
No, I think, it's a business based on relationships. And if you find ones that work, God, you've got to cleave to them forever.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ash. That's, I'm assuming you mean Ash Atala, who is your producer, who produced The Office, and who is just basically in the middle of an awful lot of groundbreaking and brilliant comedy.
A lot. We were talking about the IT Crowd episode the other day, where he produced that, but he's in the Gay episode, the musical, which is one of my favourite sitcom episodes ever, and I think that episode won a BAFTA. But yeah, he's in that episode as the guy in the wheelchair. Hello, boys. You know, and he gets on there. It's so fucking good.
Did he sort of find you? I mean, you said you did the web search.
No, it was John Petrie, who's now at Channel 4. He's a commissioner at Channel 4, but he was at work for Ash for a long time. And John messaged me on YouTube. Actually, I used to send out these automated spam messages to get the show seen, because I was like, we made 2 episodes and it was getting a little cult following, but I was like, well, people, how do we get seen? We're not part of the comedy scene. We don't know people. We're just normal guys. We don't know producers. We haven't got any kind of not nepotism, but, like, you know, sometimes you know people who go, well, my dad works it, or, you know, I've got a friend who's at the BBC. We had none of that. So
that's
we were
how
like,
those wheels get greased. You're right. It's very rare that someone sparks an imagination when they come from left field, as opposed to them, you know. And
we were early YouTube as well, so it wasn't like where YouTube was just like, you know, filled with all this great comedy. It was 2009. Around then, alongside 10 years ago. So, you know, I was spamming people, basically spamming comedy people. I bought this app which basically, like, it goes for YouTube and finds comedy people on YouTube. And John had a stand-up night that he did, and it just sent it to him. It was like, check this out. And then because we used to get a lot of hate, like, with people being like, oh, because they thought it was real, because it's like a really gritty documentary. It looked real, and it didn't look great. It wasn't glossy. So people used to go, oh, bloody job seeking. Or when Chabuddy came, look at this immigrant, look at dodgy bastard. Honestly, like,
so you'd get proper below the line racists.
But it was great though, because we're like, like, you idiots. Well, we love that, right? So I was quite used to getting a lot of hate mail. So then when John kind of like emailed me and said, hi, I work for Ash Atala, you produce The Office, and obviously The Office is like the Bible for us. And I was just like, I thought he was just talking shit. I thought he was just taking the piss, and I went, fuck off, mate. And then he was like, no, seriously, and he gave me his number, and then we called. And then, I mean, literally the rest is history. Went in for a meeting. They, out of all our YouTube stuff, they made a little sizzler, showed it to the BBC, and then, 5 series later, BAFTAs, all kinds of crazy shit. So it's like, It's insane, but in a way, it's kind of cool because John Petrie is the kind of link to it. He really believed in it, and he thought because this world is so filled with these great characters, and he thought and we needed lots of help. Like it was in a really raw kind of state.
How much of that help is plot? Because you've talked about the writers' room, which is that when it's in flow, it's the most exciting place to be in the world. When you're like-minded people pushing an idea forward.
It is.
But if you're arguing for an hour about the microcosm of a joke, who does the macro stuff? Who does plot and all of that? Do you guys do it together, or does John help out?
We have a lot of help from everyone, but we kind of initially start off. Plot's always the hardest stuff as well. It's kind of like plot and character journeys, especially with this film, because we haven't done a film before. So it's like, TV kind of, what it's like with the sitcom. It's like you have, your A to C plot, it all resets. They'll link up nicely, or if not, they won't link up nicely. But with a film plot, there needs to be a kind of, it needs to feel bigger. There needs to be, the journeys need to be bigger.
The jeopardy as well. I hate the word jeopardy.
But it's so true. And they keep on using the word cinematic, which I hate. But when a TV show is transitioning into film, that's one of the things they're going, how are we going to make it feel cinematic?
Scale and scope and all that stuff.
Yeah, jeopardy. Those are buzzwords. And to be fair, it's all valid. Like, that's the stuff that we do struggle on when it's come to, bigger stuff. But I think we're getting there, and we kind of we just basically, we're not precious about anything. We will rip a character journey up, and we were doing it yesterday. We literally just ripped up a whole character journey of one of the characters and just started again and thought, okay, without being too destructive, how can we make this journey more kind of like, give it a bit more substance and more fun? So it is cool, but it's hard work, man. Like when I came home yesterday, I was exhausted. I was like, we obviously, arguing over that joke for an hour was fucking taxing. But at the same time, just going through plot, and then it's a puzzle, it's a complete puzzle, but it is fun though.
Are you good at letting stuff go? I mean, they sort of say that really good writers have to kill their babies.
Oh, 100%.
You're okay if you make a joke and it's topped in the room and your joke gets overruled.
I've killed a lot of babies. It's literally,
We're going to use that as the headline to publicise this podcast.
In a metaphor, I guess I've pulled out a lot and killed my babies. Does that work? I wore a condom. I could have just said that.
Yeah, no,
I've disposed of my babies into the sanitary.
You've birthed and then murdered your babies.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. But there is, and this is a big but. Don't just murder them. Well, murder them. No, put your babies.
You're really thinking about.
Here we go.
All right, okay.
Put your babies. Yep. Don't kill your babies.
No, I mean,
put your babies into a coma. Right?
You've said that as if that's sort of almost like that's a wonderful alternative.
Birth them, right?
Yeah.
But they're not stillborn, right? They're still very much alive.
Yeah.
Put them into a comatose state,
and
you can always return to them and revive them. I swear to God, you don't know
Frankenstein.
how many... yeah, it's alive!
Yeah.
Again!
Cryonically freeze your babies and then reanimate it well.
That's it. That sounds so much better than put them in a coma.
Yeah.
But
no one wants to hear that phrase.
I know, but I'm just saying, so many old jokes I've kind of put into the reserve bank, into the, frozen...
Into the cryo chamber.
Yeah, into the cryo chamber. And I've reused, and sometimes we're excited when we're like, do you reckon we could... get the
reanimate.
Yeah, honestly, we think, do you reckon that joke will go? And we're like, so like, yes, and we've done it. Honestly, we've done it so many times, and I've got jokes that even some that get cut, where even when you don't, they get cut in the edit, they're on the floor, and you're like, well, I'm going to reuse that. Like there was for the last series, I've got this company called the Complete Tech Heads, where I kind of take broken technology and I fix it. And obviously, the way Chabuddy says, he goes, I just realised that I'm a complete deckhead. And the way... so there's the joke, right?
Yeah.
So we were kind of going on that, being like, I love tech. I love tech all around me. I've been into tech from a very young age. Sometimes people see me on the street, they see my Bluetooth and all my gadgets, and they go, what an absolute decade. And I agree. Yeah, so that's the joke, right? But then in the show, I wanted to do a thing where it was like, I do a jingle for my thing, and I was going to do Ghostbusters. So like, who are you going to call? Complete decades! And it was like, when your phone is broken and your laptop's frozen, who are you going to call? Complete decades! dickheads. And I was like, and they were like, yeah, we're never going to get the clearance for that. So I guess in a way, I was like really attached to it. I was like, it's so funny though, and people love jingles, and people love, and I was like, I've written the lyrics, you know, your laptop's frozen, your phone's broken, blah, blah, it works, complete dickheads. And I was like, everyone will love it. And they were like, we just can't get the clearance. So I was like, okay. So I just put it on my Instagram, and it was fucking like massive. So like, you know, stuff like that. I mean, that's probably not the best version because that's more of a like copyright issue. But on Instagram, you can just like that, you know, with social media, and that's another thing that I really enjoy doing alongside the show is the social media aspect, because it just gives, because
you're really good at that.
I've just always,
when we went together,
it goes back to the forums. In the old,
yes,
the old message boards, the message boards. I've always been a bit of a nerd I've always been a bit of a tech head.
But when we were filming together, you'd come to set, and it was like shit o'clock in the morning, and you'd already like posted 2 videos. Like one point, it was so annoying. Like Mel and I were sort of bleary eyed, and you said, "Oh, I've been waiting in my trailer for an hour, so I've come up with a couple of characters."
Yeah,
and you come up with this hilarious
Asian Tory boy.
Asian Tory boy.
Yeah. He's. I haven't done anything with him yet.
Red chino wearing, sort of braying.
Yeah.
Send him home.
He kind of. Well, he said, "Send us home." He was like, "You know what? The thing is, Farage has got a point. There's just too many of us." And he's like, "Oh god!" It kind of goes back to the goodness gracious me sketching with the Coop. It's Cooper, you know.
Yeah, that total self-loathing.
Yeah, I think, but like an updated
yeah.
version who's big Farage guy. Big Brexit Party guy, you know.
It was funny. I remember you showed it to me, and it was just it was just ready to go. Really, that character.
Yeah,
I mean,
I in a way, it's annoying because I think I am quite addicted to that validation, that kind of instant validation of stuff. But in a way, it kind of helps me create as well, because I kind of see what's popular, and I see what people react to. So in a way, with my kind of the way my brain works, I love to see what, you know, that is, in a way, it's marketing, is advertising. And I studied advertising at university as well. Like I did a module on it, and I'm really into it. I love Mad Men. I just love the whole philosophy behind advertising.
Selling is selling.
Selling is selling. And it goes back to my curries thing. You know, it's like,
you've gone from fridges to selling yourself, essentially.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And in those fridges got the old jokes in there, the frozen. That's shit. Sorry, I'll kill that baby. Put
it in the cryo.
That's it. No, that's
right.
going. That's straight going in the bin. Just in the. Sorry. Yeah, I think it's all part of like there is 100% a neediness. There's an addiction.
Where does that come from? Do you think? If you look back,
I think it comes from basically people thinking I was a bit of a kind of loser and a bit of a waste.
The tech head.
Yeah, well, there was a thing where I didn't do well in school. I smoked way too much weed. I had too much fun. I used to bunk school, and I think my mum and dad kind of accepted that. Okay, well, Asim's probably going to he'll get like a labouring job. And, you know, there was no pressure on me.
So did you feel they sort of gave up on you a bit? Without passing judgment?
Not in a bad way. I think they knew that I was this kind of attention-seeking kind of kid, but like also, you know, not the kind of smartest, not academic at all. My sister, on the other hand, really articulate, 1 year older than me. This is the funny thing. She went to private school where we could not afford private school. So my dad was like, you know, like literally, and then he killed him trying to get her through private school. And they kind of took her out of private school for a few years to Brentford School for Girls, which is like a very, very kind of different school. She went to St. Catherine's in Twickenham. A private school.
Yeah.
Where like Patsy Kensit went and shit.
That is a gear change.
And we're like this family from Hounslow. Like really, we can't afford. But the funny thing is that they put her in private school, but they were like, there's no point for me. So I just went to state school. But it's fine. It's like, you know, because I would have hated private school. And I actually loved the fact that I went to a normal school. And, you know, it kind of suited who I was. So I think there is that element of, like, you know, the pressure wasn't on, so I was kind of always been a very free spirit. But then there's that thing of like, I want people to actually I want to prove to people that actually I am pretty, you know, I can do something with my life, and I'm creative, and, you know, you don't have to be an academic guy or be, you know, good at maths or
And were your parents down with that? Because one of the cliches about particularly Asian communities is that, you know, the children must be doctors or lawyers.
Yes. Well, I 100% agree with you, and I actually think that we've lost a lot of great artists to accountancy, and which is listen, don't get me wrong, and doctors and lawyers are fucking amazing jobs, but man, I've got friends honestly that I went to school with, and they're probably earning 10 times as much as me now, bankers and all these kind of, you know, and they kind of look at me and they go, fucking Asim, you know what, I wish I did like creative people that I went to school with, people who I used to make music with, people who I used to play football with, athletic guys, and they look at me and go, "Fucking hell, mate, you really did it! Like you actually took that risk."
So you just felt they just got funneled into a tube that their parents had created, their own failed dreams and ambitions.
In a way, yeah, and there's that fear as well. You know, Asian parents are very afraid, and they understand that their kids have to work harder sometimes to be in similar positions as other people.
For sure.
So there is that thing. When I said I wanted to do media studies, at the time they were like, what's that? You know, but in the same way, they were like, well, let him do what he wants because he's, you know, we're not expecting much from him. So there was that pressure was kind of off. And I think if I had the pressure on me, I don't think I would have done as well.
So your pressure was on your sister. So how did she fare with it? What did she go on to do?
She's got, you know, she's got a normal, you know, job. She's earning decent money, but she also wants to do stuff with me now. She's like, you know, we did a short film together a few years back. She wants to, like, she looks at me and she's like, well, that's fun. You know, like that kind of stuff. And she's a good writer and stuff like that. But, you know, there is that kind of people look and they think, man, you know, I wish I had the balls to do, because that's what it was. I mean, I was working a normal job for a long time, and it was Debbie who, you know, I think I told you the story before. It was Debbie, the one who actually said to me, look, Asim, I was using all my holiday for kind of acting and writing, and I was exhausted. I was working a full-time job. I had no holiday because that was for filming and everything. So Debbie just said, look, Asim, just go full-time. Do the acting and writing stuff full-time. And she promised me, she goes, I would not say this to many people. She goes, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, and that was, I'd say, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer. And, you know, thank God, you know, touch wood, I've been in work from that time.
It just takes somebody to believe in you and to give you permission to do that as your job.
And Debbie was a big part of that, so I'm always like very eternally loyal and grateful to Debbie.
Debbie is a
we could sing her praises all day long.
For me, I mean, she sort of took me on and said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I've got a lot of debt." And she goes, "Well, we'll pay that off."
I remember, yeah.
And then from there, we'll find out what you want to do creatively. And it's like being held.
Yes.
It's like being held.
It's nurtured. It's walking you through it.
We are needy clowns, aren't we? We are really fractured needy clowns.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best clowns are needy. Because, you know, we need to fill that void somehow. There's, you know, it will never be filled, really.
And it's our humanity. Our need is also our humanity. Because without that, we'd just be painted egos, really, dancing around.
And I think, you know, we get, you know, from making people laugh, we get, you know, something from that. But also, I do love making people laugh. I like bringing the mood up. I think it's fucking, you know, it's a depressing world we live in.
Yeah.
So why not? Let's have a giggle, you know?
And you do, and you're very playful. And I think that sometimes...
I am playful. I'm annoyingly playful. I'm little brother playful.
No, I don't think it's annoying. I think it's...
Spend some more time with me.
All right. Okay. That sounds like a threat. I'll pop you in my cryonic chamber. No, but you are naturally positive without being bumptious. I've not seen the annoying side.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But you have that classic creative personality, which, were we all a bit younger, we might get medicated for. That kind of, do you know what I mean? That butterfly. I mean, I can only do things for about 20 minutes before I just whiz off into sort of alternate brain space.
Yeah.
And that sort of view, maybe that's why you like social media, because it's
quite temporary as well, isn't it? Yeah. It's disposable in a way.
And it's like, I can entertain. There's also some ideas aren't meant to be big scale.
Yeah.
You're doing a film that's, 100 minutes, 90 plus minutes. That's big scale, but there are other ideas that will just burn out in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And isn't it great now we've got the platforms?
Yes, 100%. And a lot of those ideas that burn out, I wouldn't really post a lot of them. Because some don't even make it to social media. Some are just like, oh God, no. Drafts. The drafts folder.
Do you have drafts on social media? Yeah. So your draft...
Well, on Twitter. Only on Twitter.
Oh man, you and you think it's not good enough. Have you seen Twitter? Have you ever seen it? You're the only person working on a tweet. I'm just going to fashion that.
No, but honestly, it's a thing though. The drafts folder. I remember there was maybe there was a video or YouTube or podcast something, and it was all about your draft folder on Twitter. All about your tweets that you were like either too shit, too controversial, like drunken tweets.
Post them.
No,
that's the point of Twitter.
There is a thing where it was like maybe we should all just post our drafts, and then you find out who you really are. Find out how it's a thing. It's a thing.
So how many would you say you've got in your draft folder?
Well, I've just bought a new phone, so I've only got a few now, which I'm quite heartbroken about. I didn't realise that they don't save when you get a new, because they save on your phone, not on the Twitter. So I don't know what happened, but my drafts, I've only got a few drafts now, but I had loads. Look, okay, so here we go. This is a note I had the other day. So a film set in the future about an actor doing a period film set in our modern day. So it's a futuristic film, but he's looking back at how we lived, how we did, and then there's a weird like thing where he has a connection with someone from the past. You know, so he's sending, you know, but you know, imagine that though. Imagine people, like, imagine 100 years from now, 200 years from now, we're going to be period figures. Like, people will look and go, God,
I don't
they wore these
claim
weird
to have
things
that posterity. I don't think anyone will be looking at the Mel Sue archive in 200 years' time.
They will, though.
They won't.
They will be. They'll be like, she had these glasses and they like had a black frame around them. And they're like, this is an original from that era.
Yeah. Look,
like, it's weird. You think about it.
Their eyes didn't work properly then. They hadn't had the cryotech wasn't available.
It's true.
No.
It's true. They had these weird kind of contraptions. And like, I just think that would be a, you know, so that's what I mean. That's what my notes folder is like. It'd be quite interesting, right? Looking back and studying our time and the politics of the time, like studying someone like Michael Jackson and being like, there was this this performer around. His name was Michael Jackson. Imagine explaining Michael Jackson.
Good luck with
like
that.
Like 1,000 years from now. But do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, well.
bonkers. What? He actually existed. He was a real human, you know?
So you have ideas like that. How many times you'd be constant, will you? You'd be like on the notes, going boom. Here's
really
the thing.
annoyingly, and a lot of them at night. A lot at night.
That must annoy your
somewhat
girlfriend.
Well, she's a really deep sleeper, so it doesn't really affect her. But I'm somewhat.
Does she
of an
self-medicate?
Yeah, she has to. But I'm somewhat of an insomniac, so annoyingly, all my best ideas do come at night. Or like during the day when I'm like, it's something I see, I directly see something. But at night, it's kind of like, you know, your body's at rest, but your mind is like just processing everything that's been going on, and it's a mixture of, you know, your anxieties, your kind of, you know, plans, your ambitions, all kind of just fizzling in your like, for example, this T-shirt that I'm wearing, right? Do you know this reference?
Right, no, I don't, but I like this. I
know this
noticed
reference?
it. Enjoy the money, Jane, it says.
So
okay.
what it is, right? So this is a perfect example of a late night idea that I had that's actually
Is
gone...
that Michael J. Fox?
No.
A young... I can't work out what it is.
No, it's not. It's a Come Dine With Me episode. It's one of the best Come Dine With Me...
You've mentioned this to me before, but you have to remind me what it is. You're obsessed with it.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it. It's basically a meltdown that this guy has had on the Come Dine With Me episode. And he's kind of like, you know, he's this woman called Jane, he's kind of hated her the whole series for the whole episode. And then at the end of the night, he's actually got the best food. But he comes last. So he's reading out, this is the last night, and he's reading out and he's kind of going, and in fourth place, it's me. And he kind of looks at Jane, and he's like, congratulations, Jane, you've won. And it's then the rant that he has after that is legendary. It's really popular as well. It's niche, but still quite, you know, when people are... So he kind of, the rant is like, he kind of goes, you know, he kind of looks at her and he goes, dear Lord, what a sad little life, Jane. And he goes, you ruined my night completely so you could have the money. And she's like, what the fuck? Then he's like, well, he goes, I hope now you can afford some lessons in grace and decorum. He goes, because you have all the grace and decorum of a reversing dump truck without any tyres on. And then he goes, now, so take your money and get off my property. So it went... This is old as well. This is probably 10 years old, this clip. But I've always been obsessed with it. All my mates say it. We all go, God, dear Lord, what a sad little life. You know, all that. And there's one moment in where this blonde girl, when he says the dump truck line without any tyres on, she goes, I don't get it. And she's quite simple, bless it. And she goes, I don't get it. And he goes, well, you wouldn't, would you, love? Let's be honest. There's no one in there. And it's just like, poor girl got caught in this. She got a stray bullet. Like, so... I was in Santorini late night, couldn't sleep, twisted my ankle in the hot tub. I was drunk, so I'm twisting my ankle and I'm there.
How can you twist your ankle in a hot tub?
Getting out.
Right,
I had a bottle of champagne in my hand.
You're living the dream, my friend.
And then, so I was out for 2 days. So I was like going to bed, just chilling. It was late night, 3 a.m. or something. I'm in Santorini, being quite annoyed because I'm like, I can't do anything. So then I was like, I'll get onto my phone.
No one's feeling sympathy for you. You've just said you're in Santorini.
I know.
I'm sorry. With a glass of champagne.
I'm sorry. And this was a note on my phone. I just said, enjoy the Money Jane T-shirt. I was like, that would be hilarious. I want one. And I looked and there was nothing. There was just one T-shirt that just had the text. It was shit. And then I was like, okay, fuck it. I can do graphics. Like, you know, I've done that before. I've done a course in graphics. So I got onto my Photoshop, found this image, found the perfect font, which the font is actually called Stay Classy. Can you believe that? Yeah, so then I put this together because these styles of T-shirts are quite popular now.
Yeah.
You know, like you see people wearing them. I know that I'm aware of this, the podcast.
So composite photo T-shirts.
Composite photos with funny kind of fonts.
Yeah.
Put it up on Twitter and just wrote, can't sleep, so I made this caption, posted it. went viral. Woke
Did you get
up,
loads of orders?
Thousands of retweets. You know, and
telling Chabudz.
18,000. Yeah, I'm literally
him
so
some-
meta,
oh, God, I know
so
it's-
meta.
It's too meta. You're basically
People said
selling
that.
online.
I
to
know.
you.
And then I didn't want to sell them. I just put it out as a joke, like being like, I made this. Give me some validation. Give me some love.
Yeah.
Woke up. The first thing you get, and you'll know this because you're very, very good on Twitter as well. Because I don't have notifications on Twitter because I'm just like, whatever, I'll check it when I want to check it.
Yeah.
And then I got an email saying you might want to turn notifications on, just because this tweet is going a lot of traction. So I went, fucking hell. And then everyone was going, where can I buy it? Where can I buy it? So I was like, it's an obligation now for me to get these made and sell them. So I did. 3 days they were out. And look, it's double-sided. Now take your money and
get off my property.
So it's like, and that's it. They're selling now. And we've sold.
So you're now
loads.
trading. I mean,
I'm
essentially...
trading now, and I'm not, honestly, it's not for the money. These are 20 quid, both double-side printers, reasonable price.
You're trading now. You're using...
I'm trading now. Honestly, the website, if you got the internet, it's whatasadlittlelife.com. It's there. You can buy it now.
So now...
I should have bought you a t-shirt.
So next time you are like it's Santorini or you're in a jacuzzi with P Diddy and wherever, you'll be like,
there we go. Yeah.
Yes,
It's available to buy.
Oh, that is just great.
But you should watch the clip though, because I didn't do it justice.
I'm gonna
watch
the
it
clip.
and make it part of your kind of everyday vocabulary, your everyday kind of
This
banter
is you're
with your
selling
mates.
again because people will listen to this. They're going to go to the clip when they've seen the clip. They're going to want the T-shirt. When they got the T-shirt, see Jane wearing it's official merch.
My girlfriend actually, she's quite smart. She was like, I put the T-shirt out, and she was like, you're just expecting people to know this quite niche reference. She was like, you should post the clip. Post the clip, you idiot. And I was like, oh yeah. So I posted the clip. So even if you weren't a fan, you watch that, you will be a fan of that moment.
So it's on your feed, is it?
It's on my. I mean, just literally, if you Google "Come Dine with Me" sore loser, it'll come up. Or if you just Google grace and decorum, I swear to God, I've tried this. Or enjoy the money.
You've got too much.
It will
time
come
now.
up. I do. I need to crack on with my normal job.
Well, so talking of your normal job,
Sorry,
so the film is.
Like I waffled for
No,
ages.
it was.
But understand my obsession with it, though.
I do understand your obsession.
There's a
I have
passionate
similar
obsession with it.
The difference between me and you, though, is I have the same obsessions with like really marginal sort of Dutch prog rock bands or something. But I don't make T-shirts. I don't make stuff.
Why not?
Because I don't
You
have.
should.
Because
But
you're more evolved than I am.
I'm more meta than you. But also, do you know what I think? Because I'm a nerd, right? I'm a total nerd. But you know what is the definition of a nerd? Like people think a nerd is someone who's like blah blah blah, looks at someone. A nerd is just having an unhealthy obsession in one thing.
I'm definitely a nerd.
That's all it is, really, which I think is not fucking... I don't think that's nerdy. I think that's fucking cool. The thing that I get really pissed off is when people are blasé about stuff. Oh, yeah, kind of into it. What do you mean kind of into it?
No, it's all
You're either
nothing.
obsessed or nothing. You're not going to make a T-shirt and, get all the people from
Is that the
original
benchmark
clip.
for obsession? Is
Yeah.
that if you've not made the T-shirt, you just are not invested enough?
In a way, it's all about detail, though, isn't it? Like, I love detail and everything. And anything, if I'm doing a T-shirt, if I'm doing a comedy character, I want that whole world to be so real. I'm obsessed with it.
I will, and I can vouch for this. So we've done this Sky sitcom together called
funny.
Hitmen, which was
Hitmen.
so fun. And you said something that completely unlocked a scene. So we were all doing a scene where we've eaten so many weed brownies, we're in an absolute hole,
it.
and we were all trying to start doing this. And you said the most insightful thing, which is very true, which of course, when everyone's stoned, no one's having a shared experience. Everyone's in their own reality.
Yeah.
And it just meant that we were able to just, I don't know, populate our own tiny worlds properly.
Yeah.
So I was just waffling and sweaty. Another character was having a PTSD moment. Melanie was just obsessing about this tiny piece of cake. You were just... How do your character go?
I was sleeping, I think, at one point. No, that was another
No, you were
scene.
talking about your 80-year-old girlfriend.
Oh, the 80-year-old girlfriend. Yeah, 80, by the way, not 8.
Yeah,
that sounded
8.
a little bit like 8.
You went on this sort of slightly queasy sexual reverie about
Yeah, I
a
remember that.
much older lover,
woman. I've always-
which
yeah.
made me, cry.
Funny. Yeah, it was a funny
Cry.
scene. I can't wait to see that.
So what else are you up to? You've got the film, we know. Hitmen, we know, is coming out next January, February, I think.
Yeah. I'm actually working on... The thing that I'm doing at the moment is I'm working on a new sitcom with 3 new characters. It's 3 immigrant characters from India and Pakistan. And the experience is all about them coming to England. So it's like 3 immigrant experiences, completely unique.
And are you playing all three?
I'm playing all three.
Oh, man.
So it's like 2 of them have already got an Instagram, which is I've kind of just.
Of course they have.
Of
Have they got
course they
t-shirts?
have. Yeah, they haven't got t-shirts yet, but
Okay,
they will
they will.
1,000,000% have t-shirts. And one of them is called Rupert Khan, and he's the son of an Indian billionaire. He's kind of Rupert Khan, but all my friends call me Poo Poo. And he's like a socialite, but without the mates. And it's a comment on. It's kind of a spoof on the Made in Chelsea thing, but also it's like he's quite a tragic character, but he's hilarious. He's got like long hair, kind of everything contoured, quite camp, but also not into sex. Like kind of finds, he's a bit asexual. Like I don't do body fluids, darling. That kind of like he's really funny. Got this other character called Raj, who's a very sweet kind of Indian boy. Who's, but he's very much talks like this, and he's a diehard romantic. He just wants to. He's never been in love. He's a virgin. Lives with his mom in India. He's a scientist, and I want to find. But he's an Anglophile as well. So he's like, I want to find my Mary Poppins in Trafalgar Square. It's raining, red umbrella. I find her. She look me. We lock eyes. Just. But like really sweet.
Because I've met people like that in India.
Well, they started off because there's this whole thing about Indian people messaging hot girls on social media. You must have seen.
No.
It's a thing on the internet where they like send picture of vagine and boob and I marry you. Like just ridiculous, like pervy, really virgins basically from India, guys who have never even like held hands with a girl, but who are like almost tragic.
Vagine.
So he's kind of a character, and then another character who used to be an old Bollywood star, and he's faded now, and he's a bit older, and he's kind of like Toast of London, or like Brown Toast of London, if you will. But yeah, so it's like all these characters coming to England, and it's about all their experiences. It's like and it's shown in completely 3 unique ways, and what they think of England, and then when they come to England. So it's like it's cool, and it's like half scripted and half in the real world.
So you'll be talking to unsuspecting...
Exactly, and we did a taste a few years ago, a year or 2 ago, with just the Rupert character, and it was hilarious. It was like we were going into Mayfair, and I was trying to plan my 30th birthday party, and I want everything perfect, and it was like that scene in the Michael Jackson, Martin Bashir documentary when he's walking around going, that one,
oh yes,
that
in the shop.
one. That we were in Mayfair in an antique shop looking at £1 million stuff, and I'm just going, 3 of those, and then just like ridiculous. So I'm doing that and writing loads of stuff as well.
Asim went on to describe an extraordinary film project he might be working on, but unfortunately, subsequent to chatting about it, we were told we couldn't mention it, which is why this podcast ends somewhat abruptly. Big thanks to Asim Chaudhry. You can catch him on the big screen, on the small screen, and pretty much everywhere else in between. God bless him.
Yes, it's true.
All the music in this episode was provided by Waiting for Smith, and if you want to check out more Waiting for Smith, then go to Spotify.
All I do, stare at the view. I'll be heading east to find my peace where the desert feeds.